morning. Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. My name is Jay Tiefenbrunn and I am very pleased to be your Director of Music Ministries. I'd like to invite you to join in the singing this morning with number 323, Break Not the Circle. Hymn number 323 in the gray hymnal. Please rise in body or in spirit or prepare your body for singing as you are so moved and join us. Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow forgiven and forgiving. Break not the circle, make it wider still, till it includes, embraces all the living. Come join the one at the life, where words of freedom are with humor spoken, and people keep no score of wrong and guilt, but will that human bonds remain unbroken. Join then the movement of the love that frees, till people of whatever race and nation will truly be themselves, stand on their feet, see eye to eye with laughter and elation. Our second song this morning is on the next page, number 324, Where My Free Spirit Onward Leads. Hymn number 324. Where my free spirit onward leads, well, there shall be my way. By my own light illumined, I've journeyed night and day. My age a time-worn cloak I wear, was once I wore my youth. I celebrate life's mystery, I celebrate death's truth. My family is not confined to mother, mate, and child, but it includes all creatures, be they tame or be they wild. My family upon this earth includes all living things, on land or in the ocean deep, or born aloft on wings. The ever-spinning universe, well, there shall be my home. I sing and spin within it, as through this life I roam. Eternity is hard to ken, and harder still is this. A human life, when truly seen, is briefer than a kiss. And our third song this morning is number 207, Earth Was Given as a Garden. Hymn number 207. morning. Please take a moment to greet each other. You can get in place if you want to. You can get in place if you want to.
With full hearts, we affirm our relationships with one another. We recognize our agency and our connective power, and we accept our responsibility to be bold and courageous. We light this chalice, symbol of all that we are, all that we have done together, and all that we will be as our shared ministry encourages those within and beyond our walls.
I'd like to invite you to join your hearts and minds in the spirit of worship with these words by Gary Kowalski from The Soul of Animals. It is difficult to probe the inward awareness of another being. The realm of what one mystic called the interior castle is wholly private and wrapped in solitude. But when we look into another's eyes, even into the eyes of an animal, we may find a small window into that inner sanctum, a window through which our souls can hail and greet one another.
morning. I'm Lisa Pastor Crosby, and this is Sombrita, my service dog. It means little shadow, and I call her Brita for short. Brita is a diabetic alert service dog. As a service dog, part of her training has been public access hours, and she's allowed public access wherever I go. She goes with me. And a therapy dog is allowed they do public access training as well, and they're allowed public access where they're invited. An emotional support dog is not allowed public access except for the living quarters of the person who has them. As a service dog, Brita is trained to recognize the scent of my saliva when my blood sugar drops. So when my blood sugar drops, she tells me immediately, up comes the paw, and I know my blood sugar's low. Then she gets her treat, and I eat a snack, and everybody's happy because we don't have to call 911. I'm very grateful for the help that Brita gives me and the fact that she keeps me alive.
Good morning. Is my mic on? Okay. Spanky, y'all know Spanky, he rescued me at a time in my life when I needed unconditional love, about 9 years ago. I had always considered training him as a pet therapy dog, but when my mom went into a nursing home for the last month of her life, she loves Spanky. I would take him in there, and it would be the only smile we could get out of her face. And nursing homes don't require a lot of credentials, so we went in there, and I knew that he had what it takes, and we knew that we needed to get credentialed and start paying back and paying forward and giving back. So, though other animals can be therapy animals, such as cats, bunnies, horses, and even a miniature pig that we have here in Nashville, Mr. T, he's very cute. Most of the therapy animals, though, are dogs. And therapy dogs, as you might imagine, provide affection and comfort and smiles to people, and then they go with owners/handlers to volunteer in a variety of settings. Spanky and I go to the Vanderbilt Cancer Center. We go out to 100 Oaks. He was the Vanderbilt Volunteer of the Year, 2016. And now he has a rather severe ego. But the kids also read to him. He's a reading education assistance dog, and kids read to him at the Green Hills Library. Eve, you're one of our students. Raise your hand. Yes, reads to Spanky at the library. And we take a lot of special requests, including what we do here as lay ministers. Therapy dogs are subjected to several tests to ensure that they are fit for the job. Not every dog can be a therapy dog. The tests look at obedience, they look at their ability to block out distractions, comfort level around a variety of different people, and that they're comfortable walking through public areas, different public settings. We have to be evaluated every 2 years to keep our credentials. So we have to kind of stay with the program, and I'm being evaluated as well as the handler. A final point, in terms of access, and I think Lisa said it, we go places where we are invited. It's not cool to pass a therapy dog off as a service dog. Can't fly, can't go in restaurants. We go a lot of places because we're invited, and that's what we do. So that's kind of the brass tacks of it, but I want to tell a little bit of story. A couple years after we got started, we've been doing this about 6 years, and a couple years after we got started, we were over at the Vanderbilt Cancer Center in the infusion clinic, and I got a text. It said, Victoria, can you and Spanky go up to the critical care tower today? There's a man up there who had brain surgery 15 days ago. And he doesn't want to wake up. I mean, he's kind of conscious, but he doesn't want to come to. He doesn't really want to wake up. His wife thinks a dog may help because he loved dogs. So we said, sure. We go up there. We go up to the critical care tower. He's in the ICU part. We can't go in the ICU. So they said, They go back to his room and they say, Mr. So-and-so, there's a dog in the waiting room here to see you. I mean, this man lights up like a Christmas tree. He gets up. He's got 2 of those IV poles, and they get on the side of him, and they walk him out to the waiting area, put him down in a chair. We get a little towel, put it on his lap. Spanky gets in his lap. Oh, he was so good. He sat there for 30 minutes while this man talked, petted. I had a brush with me. He brushed him. The doctors and the nurses kept coming out one by one. They couldn't believe it. This man had been a lump for 15 days, and he's out there petting and talking to the dog. Well, I cried all the way home, but the lady, his wife, emailed me a couple weeks later and said that they had gone home to Alabama, and he was going to do a little bit of rehab, but they thought he was going to make a full recovery. And she gave all the credit to Spanky. I actually thought the surgeon ought to get a little credit, but that's me. Come on, buddy. You guys go.
And now we'd like to invite the children to school. We'll sit them out for this one on the inside back of
Good morning. My name is Rachel Rogers. I am a member of this congregation. I serve on the worship committee and as program council chair on the board. It is my pleasure to welcome you here in the sanctuary and those joining us online to worship this morning. In order to reach a wider community than those able to be physically present on Sunday morning, our services are live streamed on YouTube and Facebook. Joys and concerns are not live streamed or recorded. Before I continue, let me remind you to silence your cell phones. As Unitarian Universalists, our spiritual paths vary, but in this congregation, we have made a covenant together. We affirm our interdependence, celebrate our differences, and work for justice. We deepen our relationships as we create a compassionate, welcoming community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values in the broader world. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors worshiping with us this morning. We ask you to wear the paper name tags because it helps us recognize you as someone we'd like to meet. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you may find it here. Whether you are new to Unitarian Universalism or visiting from another UU congregation, we invite you to stop by the welcome table after the service to have questions answered. People become members of this congregation by signing the membership book and supporting the church with their time and finances. If you are considering joining the church, please talk to our assistant minister, Denise Couch. Following the service, we hope everyone will enjoy coffee and fellowship in the social hall, where you will find information about current opportunities for engagement and reflection. There are many announcements in the weekly bulletin, which I hope you will take home and read, and I have been asked to highlight one more. Lead minister, Reverend Gail Seavey, holds informal open office hours today from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. in her office located in the Norris House. Join her for 10 to 20-minute one-on-one conversations on a first-come, first-served basis. Thank you.
I invite you now to take a deep breath and settle into your seats and become aware for a moment, or maybe an hour, that you are part of a gathered community. As we gather in this space to support each other, we bring with us things from the hours and the days that have just passed. And as you reflect over what you have brought with you into this sanctuary, you may become aware of some profound sorrow or a great joy that you would like to mark ritually with this community. And if so, you are invited to come forward and place a stone in this bowl of water, which represents our gathered community. Our lay minister today, Becky Bowman, will help you with that. If you would like what is on your heart to be spoken to the congregation, you are invited to write it down on a yellow slip of paper. You can find those in the pocket in the pew in front of you. If you write legibly, Becky and I will be happy to read what you have to say out to the congregation so that they can share with you. You can hand those slips of paper to me as you come forward to place the stone. Holding our joy for this new life among us, as well as all the other joys and sorrows, the concerns and worries that lie as yet unspoken on our hearts. Let us join together in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of life and love, moving always among, around, and through us. We are grateful today for the joys in our lives, and we are cognizant of the many ways in which many of us, many of the people we know, many of the creatures in this creation share not just joys but also sorrows with us. We ask for the courage and the grace to hold both joy and sorrow tenderly in our hearts, to learn the skills of compassion, to use this time here together with each other to learn how better to support everything we meet in the world around us. Amen. May it be so. In just a moment, the ushers will come among us with the offering bowls. I like to think this is the time in our service where our gratitude for this community overflows with generosity, and I want to make sure you know that your generosity is met always with deep gratitude. It is that generosity which allows this community to flourish. You may also know that we share a portion of our offering every Sunday with an organization that works outside our congregation's walls in line with our values. For the month of November, our Share the Plate partner is Therapy Animals Reaching Clients, a local nonprofit organization, and you can read more about their good work in our order of service. If you are inclined to give online, you can always find instructions for how to do that, whether you are in the sanctuary or joining us through the miracles of the internet, at our church website, firstuunash.org. As always, we receive your gifts with deep gratitude.
Chad Wood, and I'm going to be reading Just a Dog by Richard Bivey. From time to time, people tell me, lighten up, it's just a dog, or that's a lot of money for just a dog. They don't understand the distance traveled, time spent, or costs involved for just a dog. Some of my proudest moments have come about with just a dog. Many hours have passed with my only company being just a dog, and not once have I felt slighted. Some of my saddest moments were brought about by just a dog. In those days of darkness, the gentle touch of just a dog provided me comfort and purpose to overcome the day. If you too think it's just a dog, you will probably understand phrases like just a friend, just a sunrise, or just a promise. Just a dog brings into my life the very essence of friendship, trust, and pure, unbridled joy. Just a dog brings out the compassion and patience that makes me a better person. Because of just a dog, I will rise early, take long walks, and look longingly to the future. For me and folks like me, it's not just a dog, it's an embodiment of all the hopes and dreams of the future, the fond memories of the past, and the pure joy of the moment. Just a dog brings out what's good in me and diverts my thoughts away from myself and the worries of the day. I hope that someday people can understand it's not just a dog, it's the thing that keeps giving me humanity from being just a man or just a woman. So the next time you hear the phrase just a dog, smile because they just don't understand.
I'd like to teach you a little partner song. The words are in your order of service. They're really, really easy, but they're in your order of service choir. You have it in your packet. Can I get a key? Listen. All of us belong, each and every one. All of us belong in this sacred circle. All of us belong, each and every one. All of us belong in this sacred circle. Let's sing that again. All of us belong, each and every one. All of us belong in this sacred. One more time. All of us belong, each and every one. All of us belong in this sacred circle. Now the second part starts before that part ends, and it goes like this. We have wings and paws and tails and toes and instincts and souls. We have wings and paws and tails and toes and instincts and souls. Let's sing that again. We have wings and paws and tails and toes and instincts and souls. Self-select, which part would you like to do? You can swap back and forth. Our instrumentalists are going to join us. Here we go. Are you ready? Let's start with All of Us Belong twice through, and then we'll sing till we're done. All of us belong, each and every one. All of us belong in this sacred circle. All of us belong, each and every one. All of us belong. Second part in this sacred. We have wings and paws
This is also from Gary Kowalski. I'm going to invite you into the spirit of silence after reading a short meditation. Where do we find hope in today's world? I find hope in our ability to truly see and become conscious of each other. When we meet face to face and see eye to eye, we find that our differences of age, background, and even species are less important than the spirit that unites us. Finding peace within and bringing peace to the world may start with the capacity to look into another's eyes and to recognize they're a kindred soul, whether the eyes belong to a friend or a stranger, a chimpanzee, or even a wolf. What do we see when we look into the eyes of another living creature? A dumb animal? An object of indifference? Or can we look more deeply? Can we touch the inwardness of that animal and empathize with its joys and concerns? Can we see other animals as they are, beings different from us, but not wholly unlike ourselves? May it be so. Well, can dogs be members of this church? Can dogs serve as lay ministers here? Can dogs or other animals, let's say cats or fish or birds, can they be members of your family? Do we have ethical responsibilities to them? Can we make promises or covenants with them? Do they have souls? Well, we know that we experience having relationships with animals. Not all animals. What came up for me in my grandparents had a dairy farm. I was surprised. It was partly because of the wonderful first song you sang. It was about hallelujah to the calf. What I could see, thinking of the eyes, was looking into the eyes of some of the cattle on my grandfather's farm. And I had relationships with some of them. So I know, and you know, from whatever animals you've had relationships with, that they're sentient beings, which means they're feeling beings. We've seen different animals be afraid, be calm and feel at peace. We've seen them be comforting and comforted. We've seen them love. We've seen them desire. We've seen them be repelled. So that is our experience. And as religious liberals, we place a lot of our religious musings starting with our experience, don't we? The beginning, what some people call the beginning of liberal theology, starts with this awareness of feeling, of what we call affect. Friedrich Schleiermacher, and the German theologians in the 1800s, he said that soul is affect. And it was revolutionary because he didn't say soul or those feelings come from something transcendent of the body. He said that actually is a function of the body. It's physical. Now, he didn't know the biology of that. He didn't know how the brain worked. We know more about that now. But everything we've learned about it doesn't keep us, actually builds on his case. He says that soul is that part of affect, that basic part of affect where we understand, we are conscious that we are alive. Consciousness that we are alive. So, we'll be thinking, the animals, are they conscious that they're alive? And then he says that the religious impulse comes from a feeling that we are all totally dependent upon and inextricably tied, totally dependent upon and totally inextricably tied to all of life. Okay. So, as UU theologian Tandayaka has expanded on that and looked at neurology, affect neurology, we can see that this part of the feeling is very basic, that we're alive, that we feel we're alive and part of life. And it may be even as low as in the brain stem. And there's a lot of living creatures that have a brain stem, right? So there's an understanding now, as we become less human-centered, that all of life has a soul. Now, this is not a new idea. It's a very ancient idea. Most of us were brought up in a culture that did not have that idea, that developed an idea with industrialization especially, that animals were part of a hierarchy with God and the angels at the top, and humans were very special. We were close to the angels, and then animals were ranked below that. And sometimes we would even rank some people as lower than humanity and say, oh yeah, they're just animals. So this kind of ranking was used in oppressive ways. And then as we became industrialized, we started to think of animals as a resource and even as a machine that didn't have feelings at all. So some of us were brought up with that understanding, and it was counterintuitive to our experience for many of us. But even in our own tradition, throughout the Hebrew and Christian Bible, for instance, there are suggestions that people did not have this idea of dominion over the animals. I mean, most of the people who were involved in the Bible were tribal people. So if you look at the book of Job, which is one of my favorite places to find that, is Job himself says to people who are all criticizing him all the time for his bad luck, he says, just listen to the animals, listen to the cattle, listen to the birds of the air and the fish in the sea and all of the creatures, for they will teach you. Well, what will they teach him? He says, they will teach you that they are all part of the soul of life, that we are all part of the soul of life. And that spirit of life that Job calls God holds us all. Now, that's not a whole lot different, I don't think, and maybe I'm missing something, that when Black Elk wrote, who is an indigenous Sioux from the 19th century in the U.S., in the western area, he wrote that all of creatures, people, he calls them all people. You know, there's human people and there's animal people, and that we're all related, and the Great Spirit is infused in all of us, and that if we understand that, if we relate to the other creatures as part of the Great Spirit, then we will learn how to live in harmony with the Great Spirit. And then process. So these come from ancient ideas, but process theology, which is one of the things that grew out of Schleiermacher, it's a more modern theology that we rest upon in our idea of the interdependent web of all existence. So in process theology, they take those same ideas, but in what we would call a systems view, scientific systems, where each creature is a part of a living system. So like you're a living system, and then all other creatures are part of a larger living system with you. Let's say the church is a living system, a community, and then we have part of a living system of all of life, and then we're part of a living system that goes throughout the whole universe. Charles Hartshorne really describes what we think of as God as the greatest system that we know or can experience. So, soul to soul, be it person to person, person to animal, are all ways that we can have relationships that help us understand what it is to be in harmony with the great soul, or the interdependent web of all existence, which is something that we all affirm and promote. Now, this brings up some strange ethical dilemmas, and I'm just going to mention one because I think it shows how we're caught sometimes in between two ways of thinking. I certainly know I am. You know, there's that way of thinking which is that more hierarchical, human-centered way that I was brought up with. And then there's this way of thinking that fits my experience better, that we're all related, and that I can have relationships with human beings, some good and some bad, and I can have relationships with animals, some good and some bad, right? I don't want me to romanticize those relationships. But at GA, the last few years, somebody had suggested that we change our first affirmation in our principles to, so our first one is that we affirm to promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And so we had discussion about, are we going to change that last word, person, to being? We affirm and promote the dignity and worth of every being, which to me sounds like a great idea. What was interesting was that our African American members argued, a lot of them argued against it, because they said, we as people who were in our Constitution defined as 3/5 of a human feel like we're still working to be treated as fully, inherently of worth. And so we just want to sit with affirming the dignity and worth of people for a while. We still have work to do on that. So we voted to keep it as it is at this time. So that's one of the arguments, one of the ways that I think our ethics are caught in this space of transition, quite honestly. I mean, I hope it's transition, I guess. At the same time, people are working on the ethics of our relationship with animals in depth. Janet Gyatso is a Buddhist scholar who teaches at Harvard, and she teaches classes on animals. And they're pretty general. I mean, people talk about philosophical, theological, ethical concepts of animals and how they're changing. And she says that there's two ways that people in our culture are taught to look at animals, and they're really kind of very black-white, or very dualistic, thinking. One is speciesism, which is, different species have different rankings on some kind of order. So as a human, I think I'm better than other species of animals. And the other one is anthropomorphizing, which anthropo just means people that were projecting human traits on animals. So a lot of people who, until recently, were studying animals would be accused, you're projecting your human qualities on that animal. Well, actually, science is now starting to be able to see that that's not always true. What Gyatso says is that both are true. Animals are like us, and they're not like us. Sometimes, at that affect level, they are very much like us. And in other ways, each species, including us, as animals, have different strengths, different ways that we relate to the world. And so another professor right here at Belmont, who is a Christian scholar, Judy Skeen, she teaches similar courses, and she takes her students to her farm. And on her farm, out in Franklin, she has rescue horses. And she teaches them how to relate to these horses. She literally teaches them how they're different, how they perceive the world, act in the world, how they've evolved to be different than we are. But in that understanding of how they're different, they actually learn how they can relate. I asked Judy, what have you learned from your horses? Because we were talking about this Bible verse from Job about, listen to the animals and they will teach you. And she says, I've learned about my own intuition. These horses are brilliant at intuition. They've been my teachers in that way. So she teaches this to her students because she knows that all soul-to-soul relationships have to deal with both differences and like things that are the same. In other words, there's no two human beings that aren't both different and the same, as well as that people to animal. And so she hopes that they're taking that knowledge of how to understand the difference of another creature, that will help them in having ethical relationships with other humans as well. So, soul to soul, whether it's human soul to human soul to animal soul, all help us become more aware of our ethical obligations to one another. We see that in church. We have learned from people who bring their service animals, and I have learned way before I came to this church that service animals become members of the church, and that we have responsibilities to them, just as they have responsibilities to the community. They, as Lisa talked about, they're taught how to be able to do their work even though there's other people around, and we're taught not to interact with the dog as a pet while they're working. For instance, you could call that a covenant that we have with that animal. I've never had an animal on a lay ministry team before, but Spanky has become, with her team member, Victoria, a full member of our ministry team in this church. And we have a covenant with Spanky. Spanky goes and gets trained every 2 years, passes its test. Spanky is respectful to being invited in, and then we are respectful to Spanky as we invite them in, put the team in. We have people here in church who have care animals that are, what do you call them? Emotional support dogs. And they have talked to us about what would be the covenant we would have with them, that they could bring that support dog to church, which is something that there's no one all-over agreement. There's no training. They're only given permission to be in the person's home. So we've been talking about that, and so the people who have emotional support dogs have been talking about, well, we're trying to create some policy and procedure so that when that dog can show that it is able to respect other people's space, the people's space in a social setting like this, and can interact in a respective manner with the working dogs, which is very important, then they will be welcome in. So maybe someday we will have an emotional support pig in here with us, who knows? We'll have to work that out. And so this this has been interesting for me because some of you know I'm not a dog person. We have a working dog in the office, Rosie, who is Jonah Ella Isaac's dog. And Rosie, some people in the office adore Rosie. I have just a good working relationship with Rosie. I would not call it love. And yet, it has helped me to really appreciate the relationships I do have with animals and their ethical imports. And I think what I have learned is that animals can teach all of us what it means to be in harmony with the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are part. May it be so.
I'd like to invite you to rise in body or in spirit and prepare for singing our closing hymn, number 175. We celebrate the web of life. Hymn number 175. We celebrate the web of life, its magnet to be seen, for we can see divinity in every living thing, a fragment of the perfect whole in cactus and in quail, as much in tiny barnacle as in the great blue whale. Of ancient dreams we are the sum, our bones link stone to star, and bind our future worlds to come with worlds that were and are. Respect the water, land, and air, which gave all creatures birth. Protect the lives of all that share the glory of the earth.
Please join me for the chalice extinguishing, the words of which can be found at the bottom of your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And I'd like to close with some words from Black Elk. We should understand well that all things are the work of the Great Spirit. We should know the Great Spirit is within all things, the trees, the grasses, the rivers, the mountains, and the four-legged and the winged peoples. And even more important, we should understand that the Great Spirit is also above all these things and peoples. When we do understand all this deeply in our hearts, then we will feel awe and love and know the Great Spirit, and then we will be and act and live as the Spirit intends. This service is over. Let our service begin again, renewed.